no jump scares, I promise. I hate jump scares.
Sorry, I had to step out for a second. Yeah, I hate jump scares too.
All right, we're gonna just kind of based off of everyone's reaction. We won't hang into that in that space too long. I'm sorry for having to do that emotional 180 for you all. Um, so let me pause this super quick. I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. So yeah, so if you notice, we didn't change the video. Like the video was the same throughout. All we changed was the music. But a lot of people noticed that there was a huge shift in sort of the emotional center of what we were watching. So yeah, there was a lot of like spookiness and eeriness. So really, what we're trying to convey here is that music does a big part in sort of telling the audience what to expect, telling your gamer or your player to kind of have certain expectations as far as like the emotion or the mood that you're setting. So that's going to be what we're going to try to do with you all today. We are going to use a program called Beatbox. It's a browser-based program that's free and like pretty cool to use, pretty easy to use. And that's what we're going to be using today to build our own songs and create the mood in
Yeah,
our own games.
I will drop the link down. I know when I drop it, y'all are gonna start immediately putting notes down and pressing play. We'll give you like a minute to get that out of your system. But there will be little parts where for sure we want you to just like pay attention, and then there's gonna be intervals where you could experiment with the things we're teaching you. But yeah, just to bounce off what Josh said, and the whole point of the video, like think about your game design document and the words you put down about how you want your player to feel or how you want your game to feel, and then just think about like how much music affected the video we just watched. I think a lot of times we could play video games or watch TV and like the music will kind of fall into the background. Like you won't even realize it, but it's actually like they're steering the emotions. And so kind of think about that when you're making your stuff. All right. I'm gonna drop the beatbox link and then I'm gonna show you the interface. Go ahead and click on it. It should be a blank one. Give me a thumbs up if when you have it open, and let me know if it's blank. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna share my second screen. Let me know if it works because it's making funny. All right. Do you see my second screen?
Yeah, we have
See my
Beatbox.
mouse? Oh, wait a second. My Zoom screen disappeared. But yeah, Josh, can
Yep,
you see
good.
it?
I'll monitor the chat and everything.
All right. So this is the Beatbox interface. It's like a music sequencer, and it looks familiar. It looks similar to other audio workstations out there, like Ableton, for instance, where it has this piano roll type thing. But I'm going to start off on the right side where all the settings are at. And so, right here we have file, and that's mostly for sharing your songs in different ways. We'll be using that at the end. I'll go into more detail. Edits, just a way where you could copy and paste notes and adjust them. And preferences. So let's stop here for a second. I want you to make sure you have all the same things checked as me. So I don't know if you need to auto follow track on, but let's make sure we have, if you want, you could go ahead and go to preferences on Beatbox and I could just read them to you. But it's preview added notes, show piano keys, highlight fifth notes, show all channels. You don't need octave scroll bar. I just figured out about that today, but I'm not gonna put that. And just those four are really important. Did I miss any of them, Josh? I feel like I'm using another version.
I like mine in full screen layout. That's kind of just a preference. Let's see, show all channels.
Yeah, full screen layout just kind of blows it up.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now I can see the ones before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to repeat, you're gonna go to preferences on the right side of your screen. underneath edit, and you're gonna go ahead and make sure you have preview added notes clicked, show piano keys, highlight fifth notes, show all channels, and you can put full screen layout if you want. And can I get a thumbs up on the Zoom or maybe in the chat? You can let me know. Okay, thank you, Josh, for writing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So am I good to move on? I'm going to keep moving forward then. Feel free to ask any questions too, if I'm going too fast or too slow.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm gonna give like it's sort of like a handout type thing, a digital handout that will go over all of this. So if you miss something, don't worry about it. We'll have kind of a refresher.
Cool. So underneath preferences, we have a section called scales. And scales is basically a musician's color palette. They're the notes you're working with. There's a bunch of notes. There's 12 actually, the ones, at least the ones we use in Western music. And these are just like predefined palettes of notes. We're gonna go ahead and put it on expert though, so we have the whole range of notes. And I think that's just the best way to learn it. And then if you want to, you could always go back to one of these presets, but I do feel like they're kind of limiting. And then key, we're gonna go ahead and skip key for now. And then tempo is just the speed of the song, and reverb is like a sound effect that kind of makes your sound like it's like in a bigger room. But I think that's all you really need to know right now, this moment, for us to jump in, for me to move on. So this section right here is called the piano roll, and you could see right here, I have my piano keys, and you could click on these spaces. You could click and drag to change the length of the notes. And then if I press play, Beatbox reads the notes from left to right, so we could check it out. Sounds kind of spooky. So yeah, this is your main workspace. This is where you place all of your notes at. And then down here is like your container for all of your patterns. So this is one pattern right here. If you see this square is highlighted, that's the square, that's the pattern that I'm adjusting. So if you see it, I'm clicking this other square. Now, these notes are the notes I just put down, and they're kind of more transparent. It's letting you know that that's like another instrument. So each row is an instrument. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick to row one. So yeah, let's say I make a pattern, right? That's in my one container. And let's say I go to this next square. I could go ahead and click this up button, and now I have a new blank canvas, and I can make a new pattern on that instrument. And if you look to the left and to the right, you could preview what you have just laid down. So let's see. This kind of runs me the Rugrats. And one last thing, this right here is like your looper. So you could choose the range of the notes that are gonna get played. So I only want this pattern to be played 1 and 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and just press play, and then pay attention to this line right here. Watch. This line that's moving, that's your playhead. Oh, and you can see it right here too. And then it goes back. But that's basically the gist of the Beatbox interface. Is there anything you want me to go over again? We're gonna touch on all the things that I covered throughout this workshop, but this is just an overview.
And I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. It's a sort of like an interactive handout that you can look at. It has sort of like little links that you can click on that touch on all of the settings and preferences we went over. So if you need a refresher, you can refer to that.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to you then, Josh.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let me pull up my screen. Okay, so we're gonna kind of work together here, and we're gonna try to build a song. Um, Before I start, I just kind of want to give like a note that there's no one right way to approach songwriting. It's like most types of creative activities. There's different ways to do it. So the way we're kind of writing our song today is not like the be all end all. So I'm going to start with the drums. So if you notice, if we click on the gray channel or the gray line, that's actually our drum channel. And before we move ahead, I want to bring your attention over here to the instrument settings on the sort of right hand of the screen. So we have a volume. So that just controls the volume of that one instrument. So this is just like the volume of the drums. There's panning, which you can think of as on this side, it's only going to come through the left speaker. And if it's on this side, it's only going to come through the right speaker. Instrument type is just the sort of the sound that you're choosing. So I want everyone under instrument type to change it to standard drum set, and that's under drum presets. So we're going to all work with kind of the same drum set sound. And then let me know with like a thumbs up or in the chat once you've changed it to that. And Chris, if you could because I can't really see, so if you could let me know.
Yeah, let me know in the chat. No one's said anything yet.
Okay.
But also, thanks for covering the instrument type. I was supposed to do that,
Yeah,
but
okay.
when I put it in full screen, it like went to the left, and I totally just like missed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, are you all ready to move on to the next step?
Okay, so the one thing I kind of want to bring everyone's attention to is notice how it looks different from the other instrument channels we were working with. So if we go back to the instrument channel, see we have a lot more lines here. Let me go to the right setting. Sorry, y'all. So see how we have like the rows, there's like way more of them than in the drum channel. So I don't know if Chris covered it, but basically in the instruments, going up is higher in pitch, so like higher notes, if that makes sense, and then going down is lower notes. The drum channel is a little different because it's not really dealing with pitch. If you think of a drum set, there's just different drums. So the bottom one is our bass drum. Yep, somebody discovered a drum. I think it sounded like it. Maybe got trucks driving by. So let me turn it up a little bit. So we're gonna start with the kick drum. So when we're building a drum pattern, you can think of the kick drum or the bass drum as sort of the heartbeat to the rhythm. So we're gonna all input the same notes. We're gonna make the same rhythm to test with, and we're gonna insert a note at the beginning of each block. So if you notice, you can put one on the left side or the right side. We're gonna put it on the left side. So putting it at the beginning or left side of boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let me know when you all have done that.
Cool. Thank you, Erica.
Yeah, thanks.
I think we're good.
Okay, so the next part we're going to, or the next sort of drum we're going to add is what's called the hi-hat. That's like it's sort of like the metallic sounding element of your drum rhythm. It sort of, it does a lot of different things, but in this case, it's going to be giving our beat a little bit more of a feeling of urgency or a feeling of like forward motion. So it's actually going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4th drum down from the top. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put 2 in each box instead of doing or at the beginning of every one. So 2 in 1, 2 in box 2 and 3, 2 in box 4, so on and so forth. And then same deal, let me know once you've done all that. Or if you have any questions or need me to slow down or anything, just let me know.
Also, if you get lost, we're going to be sharing the links for this project as we progress. So this drum beat will be like placed in the chat in a bit,
Mm-hmm.
in case you want to play with it.
Or not. So the other thing, when I mentioned sort of like different approaches to songwriting, not all songs have drums. So, if you don't feel like it's a good fit for your game, if you think back to your game design document and think about like, oh, I'm trying to, like, if we think back to the intro exercise where you were going over the bridge and the music was really creepy, there wasn't drums in that. So, it's not going to be a good fit for everyone's game. So now the last part of our drum track, we're going to add the snare drum. So the snare drum is sort of the backbeat. That's kind of what makes a person maybe kind of want to groove or dance to the beat. And that's going to be 4 down from the hi-hat that we did. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're actually going to put them at the beginning of boxes 2, 4, 6, and 8. So kind of every other one. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. So that'll be the last part of this sort of basic kind of drum beat. I'm sure at this point everyone's either previewed or has kind of moved on to building their own beat. Again, let me know if you have any questions or there's anything in particular you want to try. There's different types of beats. Like this is more of like a rock sort of beat, so it might not be appropriate if you're kind of more of like maybe you want music that's more evocative of like hip hop or I don't know, like jazz. The drum rhythms are going to be a lot different, so keep that in mind as you're previewing this drum beat. I'll go ahead and play mine. Let me know if it's too loud. Sorry in advance.
I think it's a good volume.
So yeah, it's kind of a really, really simple beat. There's not much to it. The one thing I like to stress in songwriting, especially for games, you do want some variation. You want to spice it up. Because if you think about it, like if you're you're cooking food and you just use all of like one spice, like you don't add any other like chili flakes or like paprika, like it gets kind of bland, it gets kind of boring. So you want to add variation, like kind of the same thing if you're drawing or you're kind of creating a color palette. If you all just use monochrome, you kind of it can bore the listener. So you can do what's called like a drum fill, and so I basically I don't know if this is bad, but like when I'm creating a drum fill, sometimes I'll just click in randomly. Music is a lot of patterns, so if you kind of create sort of geometric sort of patterns to your music, a lot of times it'll end up sounding pretty good. So let's see, I'll try that. I think we mentioned you can make the notes shorter by clicking, holding the mouse button and dragging to the left. So I'm going to actually make some shorter notes so I can fit more notes into one space, give it kind of a more rapid feel that, again, has more drive. So let's see how that sounds. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. Again, it's a free browser-based program, so it's not going to sound like like Hans Zimmer or anything, but
but these concepts carry over. Like if you get into music
true.
production and you want to do it like in like Ableton or Pro Tools, it looks very similar to this, and you could lay down notes similar like this. And if you want to do like a more hip hop style beat, you could look up a video on just like someone doing it on a music program, and it'll transfer over to beatbox.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing, changing the tempo of the drum beat could also just like drastically change the feel of the song. And we could hear that more when we have more stuff. But go ahead and play that, Josh.
Or even faster. Does anyone listen to drum and bass?
Yeah, and I think that's an opportunity. With music, it's like there's so many parts that could affect the feel of it. But this is one part, and I would consider your your design document and like your level design and like how you want that specific level to feel. Or do you want your player to feel constricted, like they're running out of time? Maybe a really fast song could make that feeling feel more exaggerated, or maybe even even slower song can. It's just an idea.
And I think the idea of iteration or just experimenting is a really good way to explore those things. Again, we're kind of just giving you an intro, just kind of throwing you in. So a lot of these sort of skills are might be new to you. So honestly, just trying things. That's how I've learned so much of my in my sort of experience is just trying different things. You know, no one's gonna get hurt if it's a bad beat. You know, you could just scrap it and start over, try something new.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
So I think if everyone is good, we're gonna move on to the next part of our song. We're gonna
Um,
do
Actually, I wanted to give him like 2 minutes. Is that okay? Do you guys?
yeah.
Let's
Forgot
give
about
you
that.
like 2 to 3 minutes and try to make a drum beat up. And if you want to share it at this point, we could also do that too. But let's just take a couple minutes and try to make a drum beat and work on it. So I'll set a timer and ask any questions if you have any. All right, set a timer.
Can I change the instrument on the track or?
Well, the drum beat is. Oh, you could change the drum beat style. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I have piano on one track, can I
Mhm.
change it to a different instrument later?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we're gonna get into that right after this. So, but
It'll go
I
piano
appreciate.
for this amount of time and then switch to like trumpet if I wanted.
Oh no. So once
Um,
you switch the instrument type, it'll switch forever. So like if
Oh,
you
okay.
wanted it to switch, you would just add a different instrument, and I can show you how to do that in a sec.
Oh, all right.
yeah, you know how we said each. I said each row of that on the bottom left-hand corner, you have your sequencer. That's how
Yeah,
you
that's what I
come
meant.
up your patterns. So each row is an instrument. So you could just have a bunch of blank rows and then copy and paste those notes. We'll get more into that. I don't want to confuse everyone, but I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Can we copy and paste melodies and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
Okay.
different though. It's just instead of Control or Command C, it's just the letter C on your keyboard to
Oh,
copy and V to paste.
and then V. Yeah, yeah, you said it. Sorry, delay.
V as in
oh wow, that's easy.
violet. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you play any instruments, Nathan?
Yes, I play
The
violin
trumpet there?
and piano.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool, man. Piano's a good instrument to like start with.
Yeah, I wanna get into writing. I wanna like be a musician when I'm older. So I figured piano's like the right way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we're gonna move on to the next part, and then we'll give you a little more time to work on it.
Doesn't
Josh is gonna cover, constructing chords, which I think is a really important and valuable skill.
first, does anyone want to share their beat? Is anyone brave enough to put their drum pattern out there? No pressure. All right, I'll move on then. There'll be plenty of time for sharing at the end. Okay, so the next part is sort of what's called harmony, and that's sort of how to explain it in few words. It's kind of like the foundation for creating an emotion in music. So harmony is essentially the at its core is building what's called a chord, and a chord is essentially more than two notes on played at the same time. They can be played by the same instrument, different instrument, doesn't matter. So first, we're all together. We're gonna first thing we want to do is we're actually gonna go to our yellow channel. Just kind of keep it standard so everyone's kind of working with the same sort of the same everyone has like the same thing. So just for now, it doesn't have to. You don't have to stick to this pattern if you don't want to. But yellow channel, we're all going to go to instrument type, and we're going to change it to all the way to the top, I believe. Yeah, and it's going to be square. I always get this one wrong. Square lead. Yes, square lead. And then let me know when you're there, because it'll get a little tricky from here.
How's everyone doing? Think we're good.
Okay.
We haven't got much feedback. Also, too, I think I appreciate the physical thumbs up, but they stick out a little bit less. I think it's more effective to put it in the chat or use like the Zoom thumbs up or whatever.
Okay, so we're gonna input notes together now if you're all ready. So in music, so this is all super simple because I understand that not everyone has a musical background and I know not everyone's interested in it. So, we got to get into a little bit of the theory if we want to make some music. So we're going to build what's called a major chord. And so you can essentially think of the major chord as sort of the happy chord, the light chord. It's often used if you want to convey basically light, happy emotions. So we're all going to start with a C note. That's the letter C, not a $100 bill. I don't know if is that slang people use anymore? No. C note. Okay.
Never heard that.
So we're gonna all let's make it 4 blocks long, and then so from there we're gonna build up. So we're gonna add another note on top of it. So we're actually gonna go by what's called an interval. So we're gonna go up 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and if you look, that should be the E notes. So I'll give you a couple seconds.
Oops, sorry.
Put it in. Oh, that was
me.
Tasty. Okay, so for our third note and final note in the major chord, we're going to go above this E note. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. So we should be landing on that blue line. So if everything is all good, it should be a C, an E, and a G. And it should sound like that. Let's see. So let's see. I think, Chris, can you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay, so that is what's called a C major chord. So next we're gonna build another major chord next to it, and it's gonna start on a G. So we're actually gonna do the blue line down here, and so it's gonna be the same pattern. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4 above, and then 1, 2, 3 spaces above. So a G, a B, and a D. So if we want to preview that really quick, I'm going to change the loop cycle to just this one section. Let's play it, see what it sounds like. So nothing like terribly special. It's pretty, to me at least, it sounds a little kind of bland. There's not much to it. So let's spice things up. Let's click on the second block, and we're actually going to change it to pattern 2. So we're working with pattern 1 here and pattern 2 here. So now we're going to add a little bit of darkness, a little bit of sadness to our music, because you can't have light without the dark. So we're going to build a minor chord, which is the unhappy, it's the dramatic, it's dark, all the sort of deep emotions in life I'm sure a lot of us are feeling maybe today. So we're actually going to start on an A, and it's going to be the one above the G note. So this blue one, we're going to go 2 above it, 1, 2. And so once you have the A note, let me know, because I want to make sure this part, I don't get ahead of you all. Cool. So remember in the minor chord, we went, oops, that was ugly. We went 1, 2, 3, 4. So the major chord, we went 1, 2, 3, 4 above. This one is going to be different. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 above. And then, so that should be on a C. So that should be the orange-brown row. And then, the third note is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can kind of think of it as sort of the same pattern as the minor chord, but we just flipped it. So there's an interval of 3 and then an interval of 4, whereas the major chord was an interval of 4 and then an interval of 3.
Um, is this confusing, like super confusing to anyone? Because I know it could sound like there's like words like major, interval, and whatnot. But like so far, really, what we're doing is just counting the spaces, like Josh said, 3 or 4. Josh? Is there an easy way to explain how you knew to put the next chord, only like one space up from
I
the first chord?
be, just because that's the I know it because that's the way it is.
Yeah,
Like
there you go. You
there's
just gotta try to experiment.
for sure, and that's really again that goes back to just like trying things. So you heard me earlier. I did like a kind of an ugly sounding interval, and like I don't know, like to me, sure it's ugly, but it serves a purpose. Like if you put that in your music in your game, like maybe you're trying to convey something specifically, like you're maybe the character's a little uncomfortable or like something really bad just happened. So um, it goes back to this idea of just trying things, experimenting with different intervals,
Yeah.
adding more notes.
And I mean, I even asked that question about how you knew the chord, because I don't know why, like when to space them out. I do just try. I take what Josh taught, the intervals thing, and I use that concept just to like trial and error, even with the scales, which the melody we'll get into next. But sorry to disrupt
Oh, it's
this.
okay. No, it's just like yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know if you all know this, but like when you have a skill or you practice a certain type of art, there's just certain parts of theory that you just have to remember. So I'm not a visual artist, so I don't know if like Chris could help me out with the sort of like a type of theory or like exercise or technique that you don't really like know how to explain. It's just like the way it is. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Emily
like
said color theory.
right. So like the idea of like tertiary colors, like it's just the way it is, right?
Why
I mean,
is green the opposite of red? Who knows? That's just the way it is. That's
yeah,
just the thing you gotta know.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
cool.
Okay, so because I don't want to get too hung up on chords here, because again, this does really. There are people who go to school like just to study harmony and like advanced degrees. So like I don't want to get too caught up in this. Like this, I don't want to take the fun out of it for you all. But
Yeah.
we are going to build one last minor chord, and so it's actually going to be the bottom note of the chord. It's going to be the top note of your last chord. So if you're looking over here, it should be an E. So we're just going to kind of slide over. There we go.
Wait, let's see if someone remembers the intervals.
Okay, so for minor chords, what was the interval between the first note and the second note?
There's 2 options.
Yeah, either 3 or 4. You can look at your other chord and count too. It's not cheating.
It is cheating. Don't look at it. Just kidding. Go ahead
Memorization.
and type it down or say it out loud. It's okay if you're wrong. How many spaces away should the next note be? 3 or 4?
Oops, sorry. Not 2.
Emily said 5.
It sounds cool, but not
Sounds
quite.
cool.
We overshot it. So it's going to be 3. So we're going to count up from our bottom note. So 1, 2, 3. It should be a G. It's the blue line. All right, and then we'll just put in our last note. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 above. That should be a B. That's the one below the orange line. Okay, so we have our minor chords here. I'm just going to preview this section and just see what the minor chords sound like. Okay, again, it's still kind of a sort of a one note, not like literally, but there's not a lot of like variation to it. So let's listen to this whole sequence as in context. So it's pretty cool. Again, I would still say it's a bit of a blank slate because we still have to add a little bit like some like textures and other kind of ornamentation on it. Just like when you are sketching, you start with like the line work or whatever. I don't know. My lack of visual art experience is showing right now, I'm sure.
Just a couple of things. Last time we were practicing, you put it, you put counting intervals in a good way, a clear way for me, where it's like you're playing a game, like a board game.
Hmm.
And so you like, let's say I'm starting on the first note, or you think you could show them, Josh, since you have the
Yeah,
mouse.
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, you think of it like when you're playing like what is that
Candyland.
one? Candyland. Thank you. I
Candyland.
almost called it Candy Crush. Sorry, different game. So you start from your sort of your root note. This is what it's called. The bottom note in a chord is usually called the root note. So you're gonna count up 1, 2, and 3, and then you actually place the note on the third. So you don't go like 1, 2, 3, and then put it on the next one.
Yeah, because it looks like it's two spaces away, but
Yeah, right.
board
There's
game
two
style.
two in between, but the interval is 3. And if you want to, if anyone's like interested in music theory, they're considered semitones or half steps.
Mhm.
Um,
And yeah, also back to the game design document, like if you're thinking like, oh, I want the song to feel uplifting, like maybe you could start with minor chords and end on major chords instead of Josh started with major chords and ended on minor chords. So that could give you a whole different feeling from switching it up, like there could be a challenge in the beginning, so the chords sound more uh, a little sadder, I guess, and then they could end on a happier note. Is it common to combine major and minor chords? From Emily.
yeah, totally. It's absolutely it's something that happens all the time. Pretty much think of any pop song, and so this is what we've created is called a chord progression because we have a progression of chords of different chords. So yeah, a lot of times, and Chris touched on it too, is the combination of chords or the order of chords. Again, this is getting a lot deep into like composition and theory, but the order of chords does affect the way a piece feels or a song feels. So play around with the order of things, and you'll kind of feel different emotions. So yeah, like Chris said, if you start on minor and end on major, that feels a lot different if you start on major and end on minor. And all that being said, again, this is just like one approach to it and just one interpretation of how music works. It's super subjective, like most forms of art. So this might not be like the only way to approach writing songs.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so up next, we're gonna go over making a melody and a little bit about kind of scales a little bit, and then we'll take a little break, and then we're gonna jump into Construct 3 and show you how to actually put this stuff into Construct.
I'm gonna
So
share the what I made in the chat. So if you want to kind of be on the same page as us, you can go ahead and use this link.
yeah, and actually, I'm gonna give you all 2 minutes to experiment with making a chord or chord progression even. And I'll be right back as well. Let me get some water before I jump into the last portion. But
Yeah.
go ahead and experiment with chords. And even if you look up piano chord charts on Google, there are recipes basically for chords, You could even find chord progressions. And we're in the key of C, just so you know. That's a good key to start off in if you're starting off in music. But you could just look up piano chords and just experiment with it. You don't have to go in blind if you don't want to. But I'll be right back, and I'm going to set the timer for 2 minutes.
I don't want to overload everyone with information, but if you, like music theory is like totally your jam and it's something you want to learn more about and you like making music for video games, there's actually a YouTube channel that I've gotten into a lot recently. It's called 8-Bit Music Theory. He does a really good job of explaining some pretty advanced musical concepts, but as it applies to video game composition, super cool. There's a lot of good, helpful videos on there. 8-Bit Music Theory.
How do I save it?
So what I've done is I just created like a Google Doc where I just the URL is actually the code for the song.
Oh,
So yeah, you could just save the URL and that'll permanently save your file. You can also export it, which we'll go over kind of the last part of the lesson.
alrighty.
Yeah.
So should I make a Google Doc just with all the tracks in there?
Like the URL. So if you just copy and paste the whole beatbox.co / there should be a whole bunch of nonsense after it. Copy and paste all of that as it is,
All right.
and then save it somewhere.
Yeah. I'll make a Google Doc to save it in.
Chris, you're muted.
I was muted, my bad. There's actually an option under File. It says shorten song URL. I haven't tried it, but I think that'll help clean up the mess.
It just gives you a link to a tiny URL.
Oh,
so it just
yeah, never mind.
no, it's really interesting because it is like coded. The song is coded through the URL, which is an interesting way of approaching the program. So do keep that in mind, because if you miss like one part of your URL, you're gonna kind of mess up your song.
All right. So that was 2 minutes. We're gonna keep moving forward, and we're gonna jump in and try to make a melody. And a melody is kind of like the part that you would sing in a song. So it's kind of like memorable. It could be simple. It doesn't have to be crazy complex, or it could be super melodic too. Like if it's like guitar solos are kind of like, they tend to be a little more complex. You wouldn't always be able to sing a guitar solo because you could play like certain notes faster. And let me share my screen. All right. I can't promise this is gonna sound pretty, because for me, making a melody is like, yeah, I'm not a trained musician, and a lot of it is iteration and just playing it over and over and over again and listening. I need to share my screen again so there's audio. Share computer sound. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead, and my top channel, the blue channel, is empty. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch that to 1. And I'm gonna try to build a little melody on this layer. And let me see my instrument, violin. Okay, I'm gonna keep it at violin. And I could change it afterwards. What I like to do is I like to like listen to the loop a couple times, and then I'll kind of like focus in on just one part. And that's how I work in beatbox, because of the limitations. Like I can't, like, you could only edit one pattern at a time. If I could, I would edit them all at one go, but I just zoom into one portion at a time. So let me just listen to it.
Can I say
Go ahead,
something
Josh.
quick? I know a lot of times it's tricky because you want to like, which note do I start on? And if you kind of need some guidance on that, I would always suggest picking one of the chord notes. So you could see them in yellow on Chris's screen. Starting with one of those is a sure bet that it's going to sound good with your chords.
Yeah, and as you can see, I kind of automatically just like placed it there. So yeah, definitely agree with that. So let's listen.
Turn it down like a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, this is instrument settings. Oh, that sounds
Perfect.
perfect. Okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna start iterating, and what you learned about intervals carries over in making a melody, because usually I'm just counting, 3 spaces or 4 spaces like we did to make the chords, and sometimes the notes are right next to each other as well, and that could get a little more complicated. But I don't even think about it. I just try it out. Maybe the note's right next to itself. We'll see. I don't like. Oh, sure. I'm gonna make it longer. I want it even longer. I don't like the way that sounds. So I'm just gonna try moving down one or up one. Oh, so I moved down one. I went from that note to this, and I think it sounds a little better. Yeah.
So Chris just did something that I always like to kind of joke about, I guess. If you hit a note that doesn't sound good to you, chances are you're like, you're close. So either move it up or down, and you should probably hit a note that sounds a little bit more pleasant.
Yeah. And yeah, I said it's either going to be like 3 or 4 spaces away, but even this is 2 spaces away. And you really just got to see what sticks. And that's how I started off on guitar. I would just like make up patterns. I mean, I learned 1 scale, and like after that I would just like start like recognizing patterns on my own, like little geometric shapes, and then I would just like try that in different parts of the guitar, and sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And just to go back to the game design document, you know, you could visually see like an uplifting sound right here because it's going up. So let me keep on playing it. So I'm gonna change this next part. I'm gonna click the second square on our first instrument and change it to 2. So now I have a blank slate, and I'm gonna try to make a next part. And I could see the preview right here, the last notes I put. So it's a lot of just listening back and making. I kind of hear something in my head too.
Chris touched on a good point too, that something that I like to do is sing it as I'm kind of playing it, because and then trying to match it. I know it's a hard skill to master, but it's also kind of doing this test of like, is the melody singable? Because if it's singable, then it's more likely to be memorable. So like if you sing the note, you can kind of have an easier time trying to locate the note that like you want.
Yeah, I highly recommend like trying to sing it, and then eventually you'll just like kind of start, I don't know if hallucinating is the right word, but like sometimes like I'll hear the sound and it's just like a bad itch. I'm like, I need to find it on the guitar. And like eventually you'll just like start. Sometimes I surprise myself when I hear a song and I'm trying to learn it, and then like I'm like, oh, I kind of know where it's at on the guitar, and like sometimes I'll get it first try or second or third try, which is a lot of fun. Let's see. I'm just gonna repeat the thing and just go back down. I'm gonna actually just let this one ring out. Oh, you know, I'm gonna make this one back. I like that. And yeah, that's pretty much how I make a melody. It's just trial and error, and yeah, you definitely use the chords that you laid down as a guide, but don't be scared to kind of experiment and go a little off. Because as you can see right here, you know, there's no chords right there.
So I just want to pause. Emily had a good, so she asked if there's a good way to find the note other than just trial and error. So this is, again, getting more into like theory, but knowing what key you're in is like really the only way to know kind of what notes are going to work or what notes aren't going to work. So we're actually in the key of C. And if this becomes too difficult for you all, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to under song settings, changing the scale to easy, happy face. You'll still be in the same key as the chords we wrote. And it'll be so much less frustrating to have to like do the trial and error thing with like notes that maybe don't work as well. So you can try that. And I love Lemon's idea of using a tuner to find the right note. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. But Josh, do you have to restart the song if you change it to easy?
No, I just did it right now, and it automatically. Yeah. So easy mode sort of is like kind of what it sounds like, where it's like using like bumpers in like a bowling alley or like training wheels. It really helps you just guide you to picking the right notes. I want to really refrain from saying right notes because like things that maybe aren't things that we might consider bad notes are just good notes in a different context, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, definitely, like, okay, so we taught you on expert mode, and definitely feel free to use easy mode, But I think it's beneficial that we taught you in expert mode, because now you could jump into easy mode and say like, okay, I kind of know what's going on here. And then when you're ready, you could jump back into expert mode. So if you felt overwhelmed at all, just go jump back into easy mode. But that's basically it for now as far as, actually I'm gonna show you one more thing and then we will take a break and then we'll jump into construct. Lastly, I'm gonna show you how to export your track. All right, so I'm gonna share my beatbox screen again. So I have my song right here. For exporting, this little area on the bottom left of my screen, my looper, is gonna be important because whatever this is like highlighting or underneath, that's what's gonna export out. So I'm just gonna, the song repeats itself over and over again. So I'm just gonna choose these two patterns, basically. These two columns. So I could go to File, and then I could go to Export Song. I'm gonna click Outro. I'm gonna unclick it because when you click Outro, it's gonna basically play everything outside of the looper brackets. The same with Intro. So if my looper was over here, it has notes to the left and to the right. It's gonna, if I have these both checked, it's gonna export out all of this stuff too. But then the loop count, you could choose how many times that looped portion plays. But just to keep it simple, I'm gonna move it back to these first two columns. So I go to File, I go to Export. I'm gonna unclick Outro. And then here you could choose how many times that part's gonna loop on the export. On Beatbox, we're gonna loop it. We're just gonna loop it. So it could just be one time around. It's gonna be like a 6-second clip, and that's fine. So I'm gonna just name it something that, I'll just put song 1 for the sake of Beatbox. Song 1, and then you can just do export. A wave file is fine. That's like, a wave is, what's the word? A lossless file. So the resolution, think about a photo and resolution, like some photos are super high quality. It's uncompressed. So this is like the raw file. A smaller file is an MP3, but I think wave is fine. So export, and then it should go to your downloads. So go ahead and keep it in your downloads or move it to a place, maybe like your desktop, so we're ready when we jump into construct. Let me know if you have any questions. And besides that, I think we could do like a 5-minute break. Cool. So let's do 5 minutes. I recommend stepping away from your computer, maybe getting some water, and take a real break. So I'm gonna start the timer.
Hello? You guys still there?
Yeah, I think we're just giving him a break.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was clicking around on my end and I thought, oh, did I kill the meeting?
No, we're still here. Yeah, I mean, this is also time if anyone has any questions or anything in general, life.
They all left.
Yeah, I'm also still here.
How was your break?
Like my winter break or my?
I guess. Did you guys have vacation? Yeah, winter break from the holidays, New Year's,
I had winter
Christmas?
break for school. It's been pretty nice. Just like being able to finally work on like my own projects that I've been wanting to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like sleeping in a lot for the last 2 weeks. We just got back to work this past Monday.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Lemon is asking, is anyone else hearing like a singing bowl sound?
Yeah, it's like someone's like background noise, I think.
Oh, you know what? I think it's my
Yeah.
computer. My
Yeah.
bad. I have these. Let me see. Did that stop? Did it stop?
It
I
stopped
think
for a
so.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it stopped.
My bad. I have my computer on this like thing that it's like a fan, shoots air into it.
Oh yeah, you're much too young to get tinnitus. Don't.
I get 10 and it just comes out of nowhere, but I do have it, I think.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then me and my girlfriend are taking a test to see like how high of frequencies we could hear, and we're both in a band together. But she could hear way more. She could hear way more frequencies than I can.
yeah, I definitely, as a youngster in rock bands, like played way too loud. Take care of your hearing.
Yeah, went to science camp a couple years ago, and we were studying like the science of sound, and so we had to like test like how many frequencies we can hear, and I had like the least amount out of everybody, like, so I have really bad
Oh
hearing.
no.
I did hear that your ears can heal a little bit, so maybe there's some hope when you're younger.
Well, I haven't been into any rock concerts anytime, so
I did go to a festival one time, and it was like, it wasn't even a band. It was like an intermission where they were just playing this loud rumbling sound. And I feel like my ears were damaged from that because like it sounded like everything went underwater for a second, and it was insane.
Yeah, you definitely.
yeah,
got some
I used to
hearing.
go to a lot of concerts, so now I have to bring earplugs with me every time I go, so I don't like lose my hearing.
That's
some-
probably a good idea.
There's some really good ones out there that I suggest people invest in if you do that, because it's almost as if you like turn the volume down on like the world, because I know a lot of earplugs that like muffles the sound, but there's like kind of like high quality ones that are like made for concerts.
Yeah. No, people do listen to music super loud too. I heard that, you could hear more details when you actually just turn it down a bit. But I love listening to music loud. I'm going to send you all 2 files right now. I know some of y'all are probably still coming from break. Just give me 1 second. So I'm gonna send the construct game template. If for some reason you don't have your game accessible at this moment, you could just follow along with our template. But it's the one that Gabe gave you at the very beginning. But feel free to open up your own game at this moment. Okay. So there's the game template. And I'm gonna drop one more file. Whoa. That's not the right. I mean, the file I sent is useful, but that wasn't the one I meant to send. The file I sent on accident is actually just the code that we're actually gonna cover. Okay. So there you go, the coin sound effects. That's the one. If you could just download it right now, just so we have it. Just so you have it ready to go. And if you have trouble downloading it, just follow along. You'll be fine. So I'll give you like 30 seconds or so to download it. Can I get a thumbs up on the Zoom? With the Zoom thumbs up to see if everyone's back or a good amount of people are back? Cool. I think we got a good amount of thumbs up. So
Can I ask, how do you download it again? Or
what was that?
how do you download it again? Or like save it?
I think you just, oh, sorry. I think you just click on it. Just click on
Where?
it and then check your downloads folder.
Okay.
And let me know if it's in there. And just, if you like to use your desktop, you could just go to your downloads and you could press Control-C on that file, and you could copy it and then you could paste it in another location if you want to put it in a folder. That's what I tend to do immediately. I tend to like try to keep myself organized as I go. These days, I used to not do that, because in the future you will look back and just hate yourself for just being so disorganized. If you're working on a big project, it's good to keep things organized and give them names that make sense to you. Did anyone else have any trouble downloading the file? Cool. All right, we're gonna move on. So you could hopefully have a little bit of work time. Okay. So let me share my construct page. Can you see my second screen, Josh?
We're good.
You can see construct? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just the game template. I'm gonna go to my event sheet. So it's up here. This is where you do your coding at. So I have a blank event sheet right now. The first thing I'm gonna do is I wanna add my song. I'm actually gonna go back to my layout. So go back to your layout, and then you have to double click. So before we could even start adding audio, we actually have to add a new object called an audio device. So it's gonna be like a speaker. Let's see, you could even search up here if you can't find it. Oh, sorry, where's that? Audio. Oh, okay. I already have one, so I think that's why it's not showing up for me. Let me see. So I already have one object type, so I'm gonna delete it really quick and try it again. Yeah. So I'm gonna double click again. You can scroll down. That is weird. Does anyone, oh, there you go. Under media, it says audio. So just to redo this, double click on a gray area on your layout and then scroll down until you find the media tab, and then there's a little sound, a speaker, it says audio. And you could just name it audio. So that's really important. You need to make that first before we could actually start uploading our music to Construct 3. So let me know in the chat if you had any trouble doing that. I had a little trouble myself finding it, but that's because I had already had the object made. So once you have your audio device made, on the right side of your construct, it should be at least under the project tab. It may be somewhere else. If you don't see your project tab, you want to go to menu on the left side and then go to the eyeball, and go to where it says view, and then go to bars. And make sure your project bar is clicked if there's a check mark. So my project bar is on my right side. That's usually where it's at. So I'm going to scroll down. And I have all these folders, right? I'm going to go to the folder that says music. I already have 2 songs in there. I'm going to just go ahead and delete them so I can start fresh. So you could right-click the music folder and go to import music. And now all you got to do is click import audio, and now you could find your audio file and put it in. So I'm going to go ahead and press room 1. That's the song that from another trial run that me and Josh did. So I'm just going to upload it. And then I got to press import. So I want you all to try to import your song. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds. Let me know if that's enough. And let me know if you have any trouble. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can see the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you're successfully able to upload your song. Also, ask any questions if you have them. Perfect. Cool. So I think I'm going to move forward. Okay, so how do you get your song to play? So now that we made our audio device and then we put it in our music folder, we could go ahead and go to our event sheet now. So now we're going to code it so it plays. So I'm going to go ahead and add an event. And this should be familiar to you because I think you took a coding class with Gabe and Emily. So it says pick an object to create a new condition from. So I'm going to start off with system. And I'm going to scroll down and try to find one that says on start of layout. It's actually highlighted. I think they highlight the ones that are like commonly used. So just scroll all the way down under the start and end tab and put on start of layout. So on start of layout, what's going to happen? I'm going to code it now. So I'm going to go to my audio. So on the start of the layout, so when the game starts, my audio, I'm going to go to play. Play an audio file. So now lets me choose the songs in my library. I have two sounds in here. So I'm going to go to room 1. And I want it to be looping, playing over and over again. So I'm going to change loop from not looping to looping. The volume says 0, but 0 is actually just the original volume of the song. So you're going to want to just leave it there. So, and if it's too loud, you could try -10. Right here, it even tells you, it says 0 is original volume, -10 decibels is about half as loud. So you could keep on reducing it by doing negative or even, putting positive to make it louder. And another important thing is tag right here. You should always tag your audio files when you have the chance to, when you're editing them, because you might call on them again and that's how Construct calls on them. So I'm just gonna write down room 1. I'm gonna write it down exactly how I named the audio file, room 1. Or you could name it something shorter if you want. You can name it R1, but this is for my specific project, so I'm just naming it room 1.
Great.
And that's done.
If I remember during the test, it was pretty loud, so I don't know if you want to go in and, I don't know if you changed it at all.
Oh, okay, you know what? Let's try negative 10. It's gonna be half as loud. So let's see. On start of layout, play the song Room 1, looping at a volume of -10. So let's see. That's super loud, Josh?
That's a little loud.
Okay, so let's try -20. No, let's try -15. So I got the song to play. So I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds or so, or a minute, and let me know if you're able to, give me a thumbs up if you're able to get your song to successfully play in Construct. That's cool. Also, feel free to let me know if you have any issues uploading your song.
Can you show how to get like the first step, the audio? Because I was trying to get onto Construct when you were doing it, like how you put the. I don't even know. I missed like the first part you did. Like.
No, it's okay. Let me share my screen. So let me see if it still shows it. Okay, so it's not going to be shown on my screen because I already have the device. Or here, I'll restart for you. Let me restart. Delete. And then I'm going to delete my song. So I'm going to show you fairly quickly so we could keep moving forward, but it's not that hard. So I'm going to double click on my layout, like in the grayish area, right? And now I could create a new object. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down until I get to the media section. And then I have an audio, a little audio symbol. It's a speaker. Click on that. And then you can just name it audio. And then you press insert. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have the audio device, we're gonna go to our project tab. Do you see your project tab on your screen?
No, I don't see a project tab.
Check on the right side of your screen. The name's like,
Oh yeah.
okay, you see that? Okay, so now scroll down till you get to your music folder. And then when you see your folder called music, it should be all the way at the bottom, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Right click it and go to import music.
Okay.
And then there's a button that says import audio, or you could just drag and drop the files. And now you could go ahead and select your song.
Okay.
So mine is called Room 1. I'm gonna press import. And let me know when you got your song in.
I got it.
Okay, so the next thing we did, the way we get it to play is, I'm gonna delete this. We're gonna add a new event. So add event. And then I'm gonna go to system. It's like a cog for like a machine or a watch. Click on system. And then I'm gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then there's a button there's a thing that's highlighted. It says on start of layout. So that means at the beginning of the level, so go ahead and click that and press next. So now what's gonna happen? That's my condition. On the start of layout, now I gotta do my action. What's gonna happen on the start of my layout? So now I'm going to click on my audio because that's what I want to happen. I want to click on my audio, and then there's a button that says play at the very top. It's highlighted. So press next. And now you could choose the song from your music library that you imported. So I'm going to choose Room 1 because that's the name of my song. And then I'm going to change loop from not looping to looping because I want it to play over and over again. And I'm sharing my screen and the audio is really loud, so I'm changing it to -15. 0 is the original volume of the song. If I put -10 for the volume, it's going to be half as loud. And then I recommend you need to tag your songs. So give it a name. I'm just going to name it the same name as the song, Room 1. And capitalized letters matter, so maybe it's better for you not to capitalize, but I usually capitalize my stuff. So that's where we left off on. But I'm going to keep moving forward, and if we have time at the end, I could go over any other parts you missed. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to trigger a sound effect when I collide with, something like this coin. So I gave you all a coin sound effect. So just how we imported music, we're going to import a coin sound. And you have 2 different folders already made for you, a sounds and music folder. And let's go ahead and upload our coin sound effect to our sounds folder, which is right above the music folder. I already have mine uploaded, but I'll run through it. You right click it and press import sounds. And then you press import audio. And then you can just click and open the same way you did for the music. So give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat when you're ready for me to do the coding. Okay, we got 1, 2. I'm also taking the lack of questions as you're ready to go, so I'm going to keep moving forward. So now that I imported my sound effects, I'm going to go to my event sheet. And now I'm going to add a new event. So I click add event right here. And before I start coding, I like to think about it in a sentence. So what I'm trying to do is when my player hits the goal or the coin, I want my sound effect to play. I also want the coin to be destroyed, to be taken off the screen. Do we have any questions? Let's see.
Yeah, there was a question about if we made sound effects. We didn't really go over that. That's a whole other sort of realm of sound engineering.
Yeah, we'll try to upload like a sound effects library, but there's like a lot of websites where you could just make an account and download free sound effects. That is like a whole other thing. We kind of mostly focused on music, but making sound effects is kind of like ties in with synthesis and synthesizers, and that's like another thing that people go to school for. But there's plenty, and even in big games, most of the time they're just using a sound effects library.
Yeah, the idea of using things from other sources, asset stores, that kind of thing isn't something we touched about in teaching about the process, but it's something that happens all the time. I mean, I guess we're kind of using it in Construct. We're not coding everything ourselves. We're using all of these pre-coded presets and things like that. So that's something that you can do with other things. You can use art from libraries with permission or sound effects or that sort of thing.
Oh, I sent it earlier, Kayla. Maybe you were gone. Let me just put it back in the chat really quick. It'll take 1 second. All right. So just click on the file and it should download it. And that's the file we're going to be putting in. But go ahead and just watch this really quick. And oh, it's okay. just watch me do this really quick, and then you could try to execute it after. But the file is there. All right, so where did I leave off? So I'm gonna add an event. I put it into words. So I'm saying when my player collides with this yellow circle, I want the circle to be destroyed, and I want it to play a sound. And maybe you already have your game coded for when you collide with something, it gets destroyed. You could just actually add this piece of code to that, and I'll show you. So I'm gonna start with my player, and I'm gonna scroll down. On collision with another object, it's highlighted too. So now you gotta choose the object. So when player collides with another object, which object? My goal, the yellow circle, done. So that's my condition. Now what's gonna happen? So it's cause and effect. So this is my cause, now what's my effect? So the first thing I'm gonna do is play the audio. So I'm gonna go to audio, and then go to play, and then find coin sound effects. Mine is already loaded. I don't want it to be looping, because that would be really disturbing, just hearing the ding, ding, ding over again. And the volume, I'm gonna turn down a little bit, because I know it's pretty loud already. I'll put -10, but you could just keep it at 0 so you don't get confused. And I'll just name it coin for the tag. I'm just shortening the name in case I need to call it later. And I press done. So let's press play and see what happens. Oh, it makes it sound when I hit it, right?
I'm not able to see what's on your screen.
Oh, you can't see what's on my screen? Okay, I wasn't sharing my whole screen. I was sharing just construct. My bad. Can you see my construct?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it again.
Okay, good.
Oh, it's working. And I want my circle to be destroyed as well. So all I got to do is add another action, because the cause is the same thing. The cause is, oh, when my player hits the circle, it plays audio, and it's going to destroy the circle. So I could just go ahead and click add action, click on goal, which is my circle, and then scroll down till you find, I'm just going to type in destroy. Oh, there you go. Destroy. So now when I press play, let's see what happens. And now it destroys it. So far you learned how to get your song playing, and you learned how to trigger your song when you hit another object, which could be used in even more complex ways, which I'll cover. I'm gonna give you a minute or so to get this going first. Let me know if you have any issues. Let me know if you were able to get it going. Because the next concept builds off of this. So at the very least, I want you to understand this. And I think you could figure it out on your own if we don't have time for that next part.
Also, Chris, remind me for the end of the workshop, I have a resource for sound effects. So you can generate sound effects easily.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool, I'll remind you. Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if I should move on, or if you want me to, I'll go over it again. But also this is being recorded, so you could actually just watch it over again. Okay, well, I'm gonna take the lack of questions as an okay to move forward. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make it so that, I know you only have one song. Here, I'll upload another song for you. this audio file is called room 2. So basically, we're going to learn how to stop one song, stop song 1, and then play song 2. So go ahead and download that audio file really quick. Because maybe your character is in a house and they walk into like a spooky forest, or they're in one part of the forest that's not so spooky, and then they walk into a spookier part and the music transitions. That's what we're gonna learn. But if you're just switching levels, it's actually easier to code it, because you could just do on start of this layout, play this song from the beginning. But we're doing it so that if you're playing your game all on one screen and there's all in one layout, you could change the song. So let's see. I'm gonna share my screen now. I am going to go to my music folder and I'm gonna upload my new song, my room 2 file. I'm gonna go to import audio. I'm gonna import room 2. It's gonna tell you that it might not work on all platforms. That's okay. This isn't the optimal audio file, but it'll work for this. Okay. So now I have both my audio tracks in, but I have to do one more thing on my layout before I could do this. I have to like make like an invisible area or a wall. Just like how the circle triggered that sound, we're gonna make an invisible one. So I'm just gonna double click on my layout and I'm gonna go to sprite. Where is it at? There it is. And I'm gonna call this room 2. Oh, room 2. I already have that made. Okay. I'll just call it room test. And then I could just click, and I'm gonna leave my sprite invisible. You could give it a color if you want, but I'm just gonna leave it blank. And I'm gonna put it covering this whole area. You could theoretically just like have it as like a wall, but I think it's better just to have it covering your whole space. It doesn't have to be perfect either. It could just be like overlapping. Let's see the chat. If anyone has an audio file downloaded, try and send it here again. I could try sending it. Are you talking about the coin, or are you talking about the song I just sent? Oh, the coin. Okay. The coin has just been sent. All right. We're almost out of time, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up. So now, really quick, I have this invisible sprite right here. It's just an invisible wall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a new event. I'm gonna say when the player, so I'm gonna click on player, my character, is on collision with another object, so when they collide, now I'm gonna choose which object. I name my sprite room test. So that's right, room test. So when they collide with that invisible room, that invisible wall, what's gonna happen? Well, I want song 1 to stop playing. So I'm sorry, I'm going back. I want song 1 to stop playing, so I'm gonna click on audio, and then I could click on stop. And now this is where the tag comes in. So look up here, it says room 1 looping, and it has the tag name, room 1. So that's the tag I named it. So on collision in the room test, stop room 1. Let's test that before I move on. So when I hit over here, the music should stop. It's very sudden, but it's okay. So it worked. That part worked. So now I'm gonna add another action to this. So when the song Room 1 stops, I want my next song to start. So let's go back to audio. And let's do play. Room 2. Room 2 is my song name. And I want it looping, just like how my other song was looping. I'm also gonna turn the volume down. And then the tag, I'm just gonna call it Room 2, the name of my song. So let's see. So that's the gist of it. You could make it more graceful and add fades to it, but I don't want to be working you to the very last minute of this workshop. But with what I taught you, you could kind of reverse engineer it so that you could code it so when you go back into the other room, it'll do the same thing. But this is just a basic building block on how to stop one song and get another song playing. Oh, okay. So go ahead and try that out. Try making that room transition. And we'll see if we have time, but I don't think we will have time just to learn how to fade in and fade out. But I think that's enough for now.
Does anyone want to share the song that they wrote?
I will.
Awesome.
Cool, thank you, Nathan.
How do I share it?
So
You can
just
copy
copy
and-
that. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
What's cool about it, it's not like a Google Doc where you collaborate. If somebody makes a change, then the URL is going to change, so it won't affect your original version, so don't worry about.
All right. Here, I'll put it. I hope that works.
It looks like it did.
Wow, Nathan. Yeah, that's really great. And I could even see you're doing some song arrangement, which we didn't really get into. Let me show you something that I just learned today.
All right.
Josh, you may have already knew this. I did not know this. I forgot to mention it because I barely learned it. Nathan, I'm going to share the screen of your song.
All right.
You could also highlight these blocks
Yeah.
and press C. And then you could click on the area and press V. And you could paste the patterns. You could do it in any way, like left to right.
Yeah, I
down.
couldn't hear it either.
What was that?
Oh, yeah, we couldn't hear it.
Oh, I didn't play it. I could play it out loud for everyone so we could all hear it together.
Yeah, play it for the class. And Nathan, I heard it. How did you do that during the class?
Oh,
Awesome.
I was just working on it.
So I'm rocking out, yeah.
All right. Wait, let me make sure I'm sharing audio again. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Nathan, I saw that you used the blues setting. So the scales, definitely mess with them.
Yeah.
The scale presets. Okay. All right, ready? Here's Nathan's song. Pay attention to like his arrangement. It's pretty cool. On the bottom in the sequencer. Yeah, and it loops and loops. That's dope, dude.
So awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I said it a bunch of times, but there's so many different presets. I hope learning in expert mode was pretty helpful, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, he killed it. Um, Josh, I think you should show him. You could actually, Josh, can you make more instruments?
Yeah. So do you want me to share really quick?
Yeah, you can make more instruments, Nathan, and you could also extend the length of the song. So
actually, here I'll actually show an example. I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to do that. But this is a song I've made. Like you can add like more instruments. Like I have 3 drum tracks here, and then you can change the length actually. So when you go to edit, and you go to, so first of all, you can change song length. So mine's at 32 bars. Each one of these columns is a bar, just so you know. And then let's see. Then we go to channel settings, and if we want to add more instruments, it's a pitch channel, so you can add more here. Drum channels is just like different. You can have different drums, and then you can actually increase the number of patterns per channel. So if you're making a longer song with like really complex arrangement, then you're gonna probably want more patterns. I don't mess with instruments per channel. You can have more than one instrument playing at once on a channel, but I don't know, for me it gets too complicated. So yeah, that's something you can do to make your song a little bit more complex.
Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah, and Emily pointed out, you don't have to have a long song.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like Nathan was kind of interested in making some more complex arrangements. But no, I think like a lot of great soundtracks are memorable and really short and sweet. And yeah, Emily said keep scope in mind. I think that applies to a bunch of aspects of every artistic endeavor or any endeavor, just keep it small, keep it realistic, so you could finish it and level up, and then you could take on more stuff. I feel like you level up more when you finish a smaller project than just trying to taking years to finish a huge project.
And kind of in the vein of sound libraries, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with using a music library. Not, if we're talking about like if I were to make a game, like I would use like visual assets. Like I said, I'm not really great with like sort of like visual design, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with the YouTube sound or song library is like pretty okay if you just like want like a pretty wide range of genres. So yeah, use that. Don't feel like you have to create your own music, or ask other people,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm making a game and like I'm not that great at pixel art, or I'm okay, I don't know, but I use a lot of assets that I find on the internet, or I even pay for them sometimes, and they're like $2 or $3. And I think that's just like, that's what a director does. They don't make their locations, they don't make the actors. They're like writing the story, and they're using all these things that they find, and it's like the way you use them, it has just as much gravity.
Game design or game development is inherently collaborative. We're doing it all ourselves in this just to show you guys all of the bits, but using stuff from other people with permission and working with other people who put their stuff out there is perfectly normal and valid.
Is the next class kind of it's a showcase and only showcase? Or are we also doing a little review or just like questions?
Probably questions.
Cool. Well,
talking about like reflecting on what we learned, reflecting on like what other resources are there, does anyone want to pursue this professionally, what are the next steps, that kind of thing. Gabe, are we doing an open lab next Wednesday?
Yes, we are.
Yes. So if last chance, you'll get an email if you want to finish some stuff, want to hustle, want to show us, ask questions. We will be here 3 to 5 next Wednesday. Hang out, drop in, say hi.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
The 20th will be our final showcase, not of finished games, but of bits and pieces and reflecting on this experience and learning about the next steps.
Cool. That was
Oh, before we go, I wanted to share that thing really quick. I'm putting a link to it's called Chip Tone, and you can generate tones, like chip tones. It's really cool. So you can, if you click on that link, I mean, I don't have the ability to share right now, but it's a fun way to make simple sounds.
Dude,
That's
this is
such a rabbit
cool.
hole.
We couldn't find it. I couldn't find anything like this during MCD. Can you export it? Oh, save wave. Wow, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Well, remember we
Save
had that
wave.
one that was pretty cool, but it wouldn't export.
Well, if you look on the left side of the chip tone thing, the synth, they have those presets. So, you know, you could look at what it does to all of the settings on the synth and kind of get an idea. But yeah, just clicking on the
And,
presets and using them, that's great.
and every time you click on one, it kind of randomizes the seed, so it's slightly different. And then you can save the seed. It's up on the top right. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think in the future it would be fun to have a class just on synthesis.
Awesome, you guys. So I don't see Ronnie. He must have gotten kicked out with some internet problems. So Gabe and team, so if you guys want to email me what to plan for next meeting, not next week, so it's the week after.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then we could
we'll
try to
discuss
wrap it
in a
up.
second.
Yeah, we can also meet as well through Zoom and discuss it too. Perhaps.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, just we can generate ideas, and maybe I can have Ronnie put, I don't know, some certain clips together of our last 5-6 meetings. And so for the students that are here, I had mentioned we were going to give you a gift card for Christmas. Now it's going to be for the new year. So I have like a Target card for you all. So, and I know there's a lot of, so it's $50. It's something for toys, and also Target has food too, right? So if you, let's see, if you want to maybe email me or perhaps give me your latest address, I'm probably just going to email it unless you want to come pick it up. Maybe put it in the chat if you want to decide, or email me. Okay? So you can decide, but most likely I'm going to email it. I mean, I'm going to mail it to you. So keep an eye out for it. If you want, like I said, if you want to pick it up, it might, if you feel like your neighborhood, your mails get stolen or something, then just let me know. Just either put it in the chat now or email me and let me know what you like.
One more, can I say one more thing? If you're like interested in making like music on the computer, it's really convenient. Nathan, I think you would. Nathan, do you use any music interfaces like Ableton or?
Yes, I use Ableton Live.
Oh, cool. Never mind then. You probably already have. I think this is a good tool. The
Yeah,
MIDI keyboard.
I have one of those right here, actually.
Perfect. Yeah, this is like $100.
Ah, look at you.
You could get one on OfferUp for like $40 even, but if you buy it new, it comes with like Ableton Lite.
Yeah, that's how I got Ableton. Mine came with one.
That's cool, dude. Yeah, so if you're, and this is a cool tool because it has the drum pad and stuff. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and it even works like on other machines. Like I don't know, like I use it for video effects too sometimes.
Oh, that's crazy.
But look into that if you're into making music and you want to like do it conveniently on your computer and you don't got a bunch of instruments or have the money to buy a bunch of synths and stuff. Good way to start.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, Nathan looks like he has his whole setup there.
Yeah, I've been trying to turn my room into like a bit of a music studio during this quarantine. Yeah.
Good to keep yourself occupied.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Okay, you guys, so it's a little after 6. I will, just with show of hand or reaction, how many of you have been visiting the YouTube of these recordings? Have you been checking them out a little bit? Okay, good. All right, then my work is not in vain. So I will post this one on there as well. You know, like I said, you can, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's, in YouTube, you can click the speaker to go faster, like 3 times faster. You can still hear what's happening, but just to save time. And of course, you can do the playlist where you want to go just per the topic that you want to cover. And play it back and forth as you need to. Also, Sela, I sent you a private text message. I don't know if you saw that, and if you're interested or not, please reply back to the email to me.
I'll check right now. It's through email?
No, through the Zoom chat.
Oh, yes. I responded and said to email me details about it. So.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I will post this on YouTube when this is done, and then review it, and then prepare to ask the team in 2 weeks about your final questions. And then if you need to, make a list of your questions and problems you have. Either that or the next meeting with Gabe and Emily and the team on that Wednesday. All right. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, Sayan.
I'll be here if you want to hang out and for a little bit.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I'm also off right now, so we're gonna do a debrief.
We can do like a proper one when you're on the clock.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
debrief here? You're fine.
Great job, guys.
Yeah, good job, you guys. Sayan, do you have time tomorrow to chat?
Yeah.
Or we can
yes.
chat sometime next week.
Tomorrow I do. What time? Let me look. Then that way, tomorrow's the 7th. You know, I can meet with all of you, or just you, Gabe? Because I'm just thinking of phone
Maybe
or
just with
Zoom.
me.
Oh, okay. Why
Yeah.
don't you call me then? It might be better after 12. Anytime after 12, I'm fine.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Hey,
Thank you,
guys.
man. I appreciate it. I had a lot
Good
of
job,
fun.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, you guys. That's great.
Bye. Yeah, great job, Josh. You did great. Bye.
And meeting.